Good morning, everyone. All right, I got to take after Dr. Dent here. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. We're here today to talk and highlight some success stories from this esteemed group of CIOs about how cyber infrastructure is being leveraged to bridge the gap between the classroom and the workforce while navigating the rapid onset of artificial intelligence technology. So, without further ado, I'll let the panelists introduce themselves. If you all can introduce yourselves and tell us an example of one of the biggest shifts your campus has made in how IT serves student workforce readiness.
I'll go first, everyone. My name is Ndidi Akuta. I'm the CIO at Fort Valley State University. I've been there about 5 years. To answer the question about the biggest shift for student readiness, workforce readiness, having strategic partnerships for one, for example, working with our military base, the Air Force base is one of the biggest in the state, having them teach a class on our campus and having an agreement with them to be able to have rack space in our data center to enhance the workforce by having our students use that infrastructure to enhance their career outcomes.
Hi, I am Lizbeth Johnson. I've had the pleasure of being in technology leadership in academic spaces for about 15 years. I'll speak to, like most recently in the higher ed space, I've been at Penn State and North Carolina A&T State University. And what I'll speak to in terms of the biggest shift that I've seen is more of an intentional focus on building out student leadership or student workforce programs. And the programs that I've been involved in personally as leader of an IT division is to ensure that students have a pathway within the IT department. So start them out at the help desk and then enable them to go to a specialized group, like maybe security office, maybe endpoint management, maybe networking, so they can start to develop some skills and either rotate around throughout the different departments within a division to get a broader sense of the technology space, or enable them to focus in one area that they may have some interest in. So a couple of schools ago, I worked with student workers in this respect and saw them get jobs. One particular got a job in the healthcare IT admin position. And so being intentional about building out programs that actually give your students tracks to learn IT within your division is one shift I've seen.
Okay, you know what I'm about to do, right? Good morning. Good morning. Oh, that wasn't loud enough. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, now I know you're paying attention. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm Deborah Dent, and I'm the CIO at Jackson State University. And so the question was about the past 3 years, one of the biggest shifts. And so we've had something going on in the last year, 2 years, that has really taken a lot of my time, and that is we have migrated our ERP system. And so if you're a CIO or whatever, you know what it is to migrate an ERP system. So 2 weeks ago, we went live with migrating from just on-prem Banner to Banner SaaS. So now we are a SaaS institution, totally. Yay!
Yeah.
Y'all get
That's good.
Right. It's been nerve-wracking, right? That's why I got color up here right now, right? Okay, so with that platform, while you're saying, well, what about that with the students? What it is we're working at the foundation there, and we want the students to have the best experience that they can have. And if the students have a good platform, and the faculty have a good platform, and the staff have a good platform, then we're guaranteeing their experience. So with this one, we've migrated to a platform that has a seamless interface where the students can just get to all of their resources really, really easy. Those of you from Jackson State, one just graduated, sorry, you're gonna miss it, but the other ones, you're gonna see it when you get back to school. Okay, and it integrates seamlessly to Canvas, is making everything easier, to the housing, scholarships. We have something called Scholarship Universe. We have admissions. It integrates with admissions and student success via Slate. So it's integrating very, very easily with all of these different platforms. It's supposed to gonna have a lot of AI in it. It's supposed to reduce the need for IT. I don't know if I was smart there and reducing the need for IT, but the goal is to make it easier for the students, because we want them, if they have a good experience, if they're not frustrated with just some of the basic needs that they have while they're here, then they're not gonna perform as well, or they may get so frustrated that they will leave, because there's a lot of competition out there, and so they can easily leave. So it's important to us right now that we try to appease and empower our students and make their journey while they're with us as seamless and easy and impactful as possible.
Thank you. So I want to just continue on this theme of student readiness and workforce development. A couple of you mentioned this when you were talking about big shifts on campus, but a lot of institutions are building pathway programs for students to help them be ready for high demand certifications. Can you talk a little bit, maybe just a little bit more in depth about what that looks like on your campus and how it's been beneficial?
Just checking. I think you have to be intentional, like my colleagues are saying, with your initiatives. For example, from the IT department standpoint, taking on students every semester. I want the students I have work for me to stand up right here at Fort Valley State University, being intentional. Telling them about events like this, helping them with their future careers, understanding that I'm not going to be able to do this forever, building up students to be able to do whatever they want and desire, having that communication chain to where they can easily come talk to me, even talking to the SGA about what the students need to be successful, like thinking about like digital credits in the classroom with their instruction, just being intentional about it. Like we take students on, we probably took on up to 6 students before. The thing I'm proud about this summer, with including these students here, they can't work for us this summer because all of them got internships. So it's like we have rookies this summer. Instead of getting our seasoned 3-year vets for this summer, we all got people that never worked for us, and I'm proud that all of them, you ask them, hey, you work for us this summer? No, I got an internship. It's like, dang. But, it's exciting because they're taking everything they have and opportunities, like working with MSCC to host that hackathon to get the information about the MSCC internship in Nashville. And one of the students, she's here today, got to be at June 1st to be in Nashville for that internship that we'll discuss the other day in the opening ceremony. And, just driven students. And we've been fortunate enough to have these driven students that apply for, if there's opportunity, they probably going to go for it. I'll speak about Solomon here. 1 of 10 students nationally across all universities to be sponsored to go to EDUCAUSE. So just being intentional, putting those opportunities out to your students, and being a part of every SGA is important, listening to them, from IT standpoint. The SGA president told me that, hey, if you can finally improve Wi-Fi in the housing so we don't have to leave to do our research from housing, go somewhere else, yeah, that's a big win. Because the SGA president now was a freshman when she came in. I was like, we just upgraded 5 gigs. This is the best it's gonna get unless we renovate. We renovate the housing, tear down walls, cut up the ceilings, and reposition everything. Luckily, some funding came in about a week ago, and we're gonna try to solve all that this summer. So that's a big win for the students. They don't even know that's happening, but yeah, that's what we're gonna do. But being intentional. That's why I want about pathways, figuring out what certification you want to do. Like I spoke on earlier about the military program, trying to get that. The school's big on strategic academic partnership, academics and industry. So having the military there, having a few other organizations. Microsoft about to do stuff on campus, so having all of those entities working together.
So I was hoping Ndidi would sort of stop with the first part, then he started getting into my answer. So I'm going to expand on where you were headed with the partnerships, because partnering is another way of enhancing the students' skill set and enabling them to be ready for workforce. And there are multiple partnerships. So there are internal partnerships. So for instance, when I was speaking about being intentional about students working for the IT division, you can build partnerships with different colleges. So some colleges may actually have internships that students have to take in order to get credit to graduate. And so there can be an internship in the IT department to meet that requirement. So you partner, we had some interns from the business college that interned in the IT business office. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be just around switches and routers and networking. There are other parts of IT that can use some interns from around the university. So there's that partnership internally. Then you also have the external partners like the Ciscos and the Microsofts, and a lot of them come to campus wanting to provide opportunities for students to get licenses on their equipment, of course, because if they get them sucked into the Cisco ecosystem, then when they graduate and they go out and they are running a network, they'll look at Cisco to be their vendor of choice. So that's the benefit that the vendors have for coming in and helping to build out the skill set of the students. So I say leverage it, take advantage of it. That's just another certificate in the pocket of a student that they can then leverage after they graduate. So building those external partnerships help with the students gaining the knowledge and the skills, as well as building those internal partnerships with your colleges on campus, so that you can give internships to their students if they need it, or they can be a pipeline to your student worker program also.
Okay, the problem with being number 3 is number 1 and number 2 gave all of your answers, right? But again, just emphasizing what you said is partnerships, external and internal partnerships. And across the campus, even it's surprising what departments may be doing things. For example, IVP for Research has opened, it's an innovation center. And so she brings in students from across the campus, and they can work in that innovation center. They have all types of equipment there that some vendors have donated, Dell and HP and NVIDIA, and all of them have donated there, and they can go in there and actually have hands-on experience using them. And then they're even trained there that they can get different types of certificates. So she's getting them ready for internships, and that's there, and she works across the campus, cross board. We also have our College of Business has gotten a funding, and they're using Coursera to train the students so that they can get the different certificates that they need. You see, certificates are really, really important these days. And then we also have an IT through funding, we have federal funding that we had a program in for cybersecurity. And Damien's not here, Damien Brown, which is leading that program. They can come over, and we've actually built a SOC there. And it's a really nice SOC, and we're even, with that particular program, we're allowing high school students to come in and utilize it, and then we have students that are getting paid, and they're getting training just like it is in the real world. I came from the Department of Defense. It's called Department of War now, but we had high performance computing, and we had huge SOCs. And so for us to be able to see the students sitting there at these mini SOCs, but knowing that they're getting the actual training that they're going to need for the real world, I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah, speaking of stocks, I know at A&T we had a professor who was interested in building out a student-run SOC on the campus, and then selling that service to different entities around the state of North Carolina. So if anyone is so inclined to build out a student-run SOC, you're giving these students the opportunity to learn this skill set, this very important and vital skill set right now, but also to be able to, have labor that is not so expensive. And then it's a pretty big coup for the university as well to have this SOC that is run by students that supports the state. So that is another initiative that I've been witness to.
Yeah, I think that transitions really well. So talking about external partnerships, talking about even internally on your campus, I want to kind of look even more inward and think about how do you use your campus IT operation in itself to train students? So your help desk, your network operations, your own cloud environments, how do you use that to give them the hands-on skills they need to be ready for the workforce?
I think Deborah should go first.
Oh, I opened my mouth, didn't I?
Oh, that's
Okay, so within the Department of Information Technology, we do have students, workers, and so we will allow them, especially in the networking area, to work with the team and have hands-on experience actually doing the work. And so that is one place. And then also, we had a program, but all of the students have graduated from that particular program, is we had like a fellows program. So they were just recently grads, straight out of school, and we asked them to come work with us for a summer. And we talked to the students and we said, what is it that we, IT, we mature people, I'm not gonna say older, we want you to tell us what we need to change so that the students will be happy with it. So we allowed them to develop, and we had some Jackson State students here. Stand up. I'm going to do that too. Stand up, my Jackson. See, I can't let your students stand up now. All right. So, thank you, ladies. We had them to develop the portal. And so that was student developed. And so, but they did it from a student's perspective instead of ours, because we had something that we thought was really, really cool. And the students were going, but you're gonna really like what we got coming up next too. So we had them to develop different tools like that. We also have several grants. And one of the grants that we really like is we had a grant with the Department of Defense, and they wanted to do something different. There's a lot of cybersecurity grants, but they said, no, we want cyber warfare. So we had to put a special network up and everything, and we trained those students with that grant for cyber warfare. And so they were trained to be ethical hackers. Okay, so once we presented it to the organization, they told the students, do you understand the skill set that you have? Please use it for the right thing. Stay white hackers, don't go on the other side. And so all of them have left, and they've all gone on to have jobs, and they're ethical jobs, right? So that's one thing that we're really proud of, is that we can partner with with different industries, with the federal government and everything, and actually allow the students to be trained to actually do the work.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. I'll go next. So I've had the benefit of being at a couple different universities over the past few years, and student workers have become increasingly important and vital to the core operations of the IT team, specifically when it comes to service desk and the IT technicians. So having those skill sets be built is really important. I have a couple of separate examples that I want to share. So I'm trying to make them quick. We had to do some wiring updates in some of the network closets around campus, and so the team was pretty busy doing other projects. So we were able to deploy student workers to actually go into the closets and look at the wiring and make sure they recorded, which wires were going in which ports or whatever, because what we were trying to do is clean up this wiring and upgrade it. So that was a tremendous experience for a student worker to be able to actually get into those network closets and really see what they look like and focus on trying to redo the wiring. So they built up their skill set, and then we got an extra set of hands to help us through that work. Another example I have, leveraging student workers' skills, you have purchasing processes for the university, but then IT needs another set of purchasing processes internally just for like the approvals of purchases. And so we needed to build out an internal purchasing process. And the team was like, yes, this will be great. We do need this internal process, but who's going to do it? Nobody has time. Then we landed on, okay, we're going to use Power Apps to build out the process. And then we were like, okay, who knows Power Apps? Who has the time to learn Power Apps? Who has the time to build out something? So we had a student worker on the team who had the capacity, had the energy, and had the potential to be able to do the work. And so I decided to let him have at it. And he was like, well, we'll do an app. It's not going to be just a process. I'm going to build out a Power App to do this work. So, it took some months to do this, but I, took him under my wing, if you will, and led him through the development process to produce this app for us internally to build out this approval process. And that's not the best part of the story. I mean, that was awesome. This was a great app to use. But the best part of the story is that I then had the student present his app to the chancellor's cabinet. So one, it demonstrates how a student is actually getting involved in doing and making contributions to the university. But then it also gave the student an opportunity to do a high stakes presentation and to learn what that feels like and to be in the room with the leadership. And what resulted from that is the business officer wanted him to build an app for the process of reserving spaces for external events. So people who wanted to reserve spaces on campus that were external people needed to go through a process, and they asked him to build out that app for that process. So that's an example of whatever the question was. If I don't remember the question.
I guess that segues to me. I'm glad I'm sitting next to you all because I got some great ideas and from you all about the students. And like I said earlier, being intentional. So the students, you heard student-centered SOC. Your manager is sitting right by y'all, so push that to her to be able to get that done. Student-centered SOC, and talk to the information security officer and see what that looks like. I will support it. I'll let you know since I'm the leader, but you got to run that through your manager if that's. But the students, mainly the students we have, they can hold their own. Like when the whole IT department goes to a staff meeting and maintain our operations for those hour or 2 hour meetings, we rely a lot on our students for that. And then some days it's like, they'll come to my office, what we got? I was like, the TV studio, it don't work. I don't know nothing about TV studio, but you want to see what I've been thinking, my brain thought, like, let's go to the TV studio. Overall goal, let the mass comm students come on live across campus. I was like, it hasn't been working, but the TV studio got some good stuff in there, state-of-the-art stuff. It just needs to try to figure it out. So we go in the TV studio, don't know how to work none of that stuff. Then eventually figure it out, and even put it on live, and Solomon walked in front of the camera. So just random stuff. Some days it's just like, what can we do? What can we improve? But the things you all have about app development and stuff like that, and student-centered stock. And I know our students know help desk operations and inventory management. I know they understand that because they come in and be like, oh yeah, it's a lot of inventory that got to be decommissioned. So them being there to do that and learn the inventory lifestyle, management, and things like that, and also strategic thinking and planning and stuff like when they come with me. And I think sometimes they enjoy just walking through the process is what I do to solve things. Besides them coming off, oh, he's in another meeting. When is he gonna free up? Or I'm gonna figure out when he free up so he can write me a recommendation letter for what I need to do. So yeah, but yeah, I have some people to discuss here with student-centered SALT, what that looks like, and yeah.
Oh, I'll also add though, as a technology leader, and we're under all of these constraints fiscally and around resources, so the student workers can really be a good source to help fortify the teams in the work that we have to do. It enables the leaders and the managers of the teams to sort of elevate the work that they're doing, to guide the students to do the hands-on things. So they really can be a critical piece of your technology teams to just get the work done without feeling overwhelmed or too constrained for other resources and budget.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think we got like a whole range here, from like taking a student to a closet and helping them figure it out to a much more complex program like a student-run SOC. So hopefully that gives you kind of a range of ideas of how to incorporate some of those workforce development and student readiness options on your campus. I do want to pivot to talk about AI, because what presentation would be complete without it? I'm hoping you can share how you are implementing AI and integrating AI into the teaching and learning on your campus. And, how's it going? How are students reacting? How are faculty reacting? What have been some of the successes, the challenges? Maybe Liz should go first, since she's in the middle.
She in the middle.
Okay,
right?
sure.
Yeah.
Your turn to go first.
My turn to go first.
Right.
Yes. So as we know, AI is happening everywhere, and we are desperately trying to get our arms wrapped around this train before it just takes off too far in the distance. So at A&T, what we were doing is building out a unified AI vision for the university. There are all of these pockets of AI happening around the university, and it's hard to make decisions about what to purchase. It's hard to make decisions about what the policy should be. It's hard to wrap governance around it when it's happening in different places and everyone is doing their own thing. So the idea is to bring everyone together to develop a single vision for the university, so everybody is rowing in the same direction around where are we headed in AI. So when the website team wants to purchase an SEO app that has AI built in, that gives you a chat bot for their search capabilities, but at the same time, student success wants to build out a chatbot for students to be able to engage with the university. Those kind of do the same thing, or at least the student affairs app has the capability of the website's search app. And so IT has a unique position to see both of these things occurring. and therefore saying, okay, well, we've got these two things happening. Let's bring them together and see how we can make a decision about what's the best purchase to make, what's the best investment here. But you need to have that vision or that unified language or direction so that those conversations are easier. And everybody's already bought into the vision, they've bought into the direction. So when you sit down and have that conversation about these two applications or these two investments that we're considering, do they make sense and belong within the vision? So building out that vision for the entire university, from that vision you build out that governance, and then you build out different pieces that will implement and govern how AI works on campus.
I guess I'm next. All right. AI. So, first thing I always say, embrace AI. And also, I think about it from the academic staff side, faculty side, student side. From the staff side, I see adopting things like Microsoft Copilot Premium, Gemini, helping with just normal tasks. AI is here to stay, like running reports, helping doing the manual things you used to do in the cell, using it as an aid. Then on the academic side, starting with the policy, because you do need guardrails, because you don't want a society that all the work is coming from AI and not the individual themselves, and working with your academic side. So it comes with policy on that. Also on staff side policy. And then just like Lizbeth said about enrollment chatbots and stuff like that, how to revolutionize. So trying to help augment staffs with the frequently asked questions with chatbots and stuff like that, and actually it telling accurate information and helping the student along in the process of matriculation. But I would say at our institution, we are embracing AI. I think the second year of the Cultivate AI conference this fall, so shameless plug. That's all.
So I agree again, is to embrace AI. We're embracing AI. We're working across the campus. First of all, we're working with our academic side, and we're working with the faculty, because initially the faculty was like, no AI. But there's no way you can get around it. So we're finding the best tools and the best methodologies and everything that we can have the AI, that the students can utilize the AI, faculty can utilize the AI, right? And so we have a big push right now, and it's called Responsible AI. And we received a grant to help us. It was seed money with Responsible AI. And so what we're doing is we're pushing it, instead of us just focusing on STEM and developing everything in AI for STEM, it's across the campus. So we're seeing the people in arts and English and everything, they're all embracing it and coming together. And there's a lot of committees that are going on also. So the thing is, we're embracing it, but if we're not careful, because I've been watching it, it's like the Wild Wild West. Everybody's trying to do something, and they're bringing in this app, they're bringing in this chat box, and so we're having to get in there and get those guardrails put up, get the governance put in place. So we have governance from an IT side, but then academic affairs has governance from their side too. So they're looking at on how they can enable everybody, and we're looking at on how we can protect everybody. Because as we heard Tripty say yesterday, it's out there, and there's a good side of it and a bad side of it. So we're trying to get the students to be aware, to be careful. We have developed our own on-campus LLM, so that we can control that data, because if they're out there using ChatGPT, we got to keep letting them know. Every time you put something out there, it knows it, it keeps it, it's utilizing the data. We've have enterprise versions, professional versions of Gemini we're a Google school, so we have the Gemini, so it's the professional one. So it's not quite like the free versions in the chat GPTs. We have some versions of Claude out there that we're purchasing. So we're trying to create that AI environment, but we're looking at it that it's responsible and it's safe. And then the last part of it is that we're working with the faculty to start including it in their curriculum. They're using it, but also to teaching the classes. So academic affairs is looking at it that it's going to be mandatory that every student has to take AI classes, right? So that they will be prepared for AI. So it's being part of the curriculum. They're working on it. That is part of the curriculum, that you will not graduate from the I love if you are not AI capable. Okay. And then one last thing is I do have a person that just goes out and she finds everything, the latest and greatest. And she's sitting over there trying to be quiet. And she's my innovation manager. And she finds all of these AI, the latest, and she'll go to places, and she'll come back, and she'll say, this is great, and we vet it, and then we'll go, okay, that's good. And then we vet it, and we go, like, take that back where you found it. Okay, so that's what we got going on.
That's a perfect transition. This question is more about, like, how do we weave these two together? So we talked about student readiness, we talked about AI tools, and Dr. Dent, you kind of answered this, but how are you preparing students with practical AI skills, AI knowledge, regardless of their major? So when they graduate, they have those skills and are ready to use them.
Go ahead. I answered it.
So it's out there. It's available for the students. I think a lot of them use Copilot, ChatGPT. When I see the flyers they create that we need, I know it's coming from Chat or Copilot. It's already out there to them. That the students already know how to use it. When we fully launch Gemini to the students, I know they will utilize that as well, and the premium version, not the free version, or professional, whatever they call it. Just like we're in that stage of embracing AI, and another thing about this conference and collaboration, the rhythm and collaboration of this conference, just Dr. Dent down there talking about LLMs on campus internally, and I was like, I got to talk to her about that. So what ideas about that, and how is it going to be geared towards the AI of the students, or is it just staff related? So, yeah.
And the only thing I can add is the advice of taking advantage of the ecosystem that you're already living in with your technology. So for instance, Dr. Dent, you mentioned you're a Google school, and you have schools that are Microsoft 365 schools, and a lot of them already have their LLMs built into their own ecosystem. And because we are in this phase of exploration and exposure and learning, taking advantage of the closed garden, if you will, around AI, and letting students as well as faculty and staff explore in that protected space, so that the data doesn't leave the ecosystem, the data ecosystem that you have built on campus, but still enable people to learn more about how AI can benefit them. So I'm definitely of the same cloth. Embrace AI, really embrace innovative technologies, period. Because remember, AI is not a new concept in that it's a disruptive technology that education has to respond to. We've done this before, laptops, calculators, the internet, cell phones. We've done this before. This is not new. So all we have to do is just look at how those adoption curves, how we managed those adoption curves in the past, and apply them to what we're doing now. So this is not new, nothing to be afraid of. We know how to do this. And so just keeping the training wheels on as long as possible until we build out those unified visions for the university, so then there's a solid direction to head in.
I want to wrap up by just talking about kind of the how. How do you make these things happen? So, what communities have you leaned on? What resources have been really helpful to you? And how do you manage kind of the fiscal side of it, right? The least fun part, like how do you pay the bills here? How do you balance some of these new technologies, these cool workforce readiness programs with, keeping the trains running?
Yeah, I'll just get it out of the way and go. So I think what I've learned is the resource challenges in IT are more staff related than they are bank related. And so it's a matter of balancing your staff, making sure that they have the right skill to accomplish the tasks that are required. And so I think that's the investment of how you pay for this, is through balancing out your staff. Because there's 10 ways to do something in technology, and at least one of those ways is a free way. But you've got to have the knowledge to be able, like we were talking about open source. Open source is out there, but when you do open source, you've got to have deep skill to be able to implement and maintain open source. So I'm just putting a plug out there for focusing on staff development, because I think that's how you pay for a lot of this, is through developing your staff. What was the other part of the question?
Resources. What communities or resources have helped you?
Yeah, I remember. We're here at MSCC. So I did want to give a plug for the resources that MSCC has available for the universities to do some of that staff development. Actually, I participated in something recent. I think maybe it was IAM, or it was something that I was interested in going a little bit deeper, because when you're in the CIO role, you don't have an opportunity to touch things like identity access management. You don't get to touch that a lot. So I wanted to go deeper in some topic, and so I just went out on MSCC and signed up for one of those tutorials. But I didn't stop there. I sent it out to the team. Hey, MSCC has all of these opportunities for learning. The team doesn't want to travel. Well, we can do this. Well, I think it was synchronously. They were synchronous, but you didn't have to go anywhere. So I encourage everyone to take a look at what MSCC has to offer in terms of development. That really actually tied in very well, because my resources was about staff development. So
I guess I'll go next again.
Sure.
All right. So I agree a lot with staff development, balancing your resources. That made me think about, tying it in with your question about how the student readiness and stuff like that. I was like, one of the students in here did a whole competitive bid process with the vendors, with some vendors we needed to renew our printer contract. We ain't did it in 10 years. And I was like, hey, I don't have the time to do this. Can you meet with all these vendors, ask them all these questions? And this is gonna get you trainer vendor negotiation relationship. He compiled all that, put it in a report to give it to the vice president of business and finance and the department that's actually over printer management. And the reason I chose the student was like, you all have a stake in this too as well, because you all use the printers a lot on campus. So just thinking about that, and balancing your resources. I hate to be cliche and say be intentional with things you're doing. Communities, I would say for communities, Fort Valley State University joined Internet 2, I believe last year or the year before. Everything has become a blur over these last few years. But I speak here at MSCC more than I speak at Internet 2, because when I go to Internet 2, my mind be blown. I was like, dang, we ain't doing that. We way behind. Oh my God. Because you in there with University of Michigan, Georgia Tech, UGA, and I'm like, dang. Want to be like that one day. Can we get there? I was like, probably not. They got away so much money. But, it's just, you could dream big and you think about the next thing, if it's not, sometimes it is a money thing, but most times it's like your staff, getting development, or can we do all this and not burn out and stuff like that. And it's just, balancing everything like that. But just thinking about strategically, you have to, strategic planning, you have to think about the next thing. We're doing this right now, but what's next? That's keeping up with that, and constant, I guess for most organizations to evolve, constant leadership. I mean, turnover, we all know kind of puts us back before we can go forward. So, yeah.
You still got time? I thought I heard alarm go off.
Oh yeah, it went off. But you got a good 30 seconds. Look at this captive audience.
30 seconds, okay, real fast. It's really strategic engagement, strategic about everything you're doing. There's a lot of vendors. I know that you all get emails constantly from vendors and offering you free software or free. You can go to different workshops and everything, and but you just got to be careful because there's so much. So you have to be strategic about what you engage. So it's strategic engagement, and then when you're doing that strategic engagement, then you're going to look for resources that they would want a partnership with you. They want to invest in you, so you want to utilize the ones and pay attention to the ones that want to invest in you. But don't just let them invest in you. Make sure that you're giving something back, that you're sharing, and it's a two-way process there. So whatever you can find strategically, partners that was willing to invest in you, then that's the way you should go. Okay.
Awesome.
And I'm in there.
Thank you, everybody. I know we didn't leave time for questions, but knowing these three individuals, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. I do just want to close by thanking you all. I think this community's superpower is just your willingness to share and the opportunity to learn from each other. So I appreciate your time and sharing your experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Therese.
Thank you.